What's good, YouTube? It's boardzy, and in this video we're going to be doing a review of the RGB XM1. Yes, this is the mouse that I have been using for the past few weeks. I did get it sent out to me by Endgame. Shout out to them for letting me test it early. And this video should be going up right when the drop happens, but I'm recording it the day prior. So I've had some time to use this mouse, around like 2 weeks, I'd say, since like before the start of September, and it is pretty cool. Some of the things I'm going to mention in this review are going to be turnoffs for some people. But overall, I would say this is a more refined XM1. It is going to cost $10 more than the original XM1. But of course, if you don't like it and you are upset, the normal XM1 still exists. And I'm sure Endgame is going to make more versions in the future. But I totally understand if you're like, oh, we waited this long, it's just another same XM1 shape just with RGB. And yeah, I get that, but there are some add-ons that are definitely cool. And yeah, so first thing we're going to talk about is, in my opinion, the coolest part of this mouse, the main switches. They use Kale 4.0s, and that is normally an aftermarket switch, but Endgame has actually put it on their flagship mouse, which, in my opinion, is fucking, like, so cool. I personally care a lot about the switches in my mouse because I have used so many mice that I just, like, I'm kind of snobby with it, and this is definitely the best out-of-the-box experience I've had. It's such a sharp switch. And those were the Kales. Now it's Omron 50Ms. But they are really nice. And if you've ever wanted to try like aftermarket switches but don't want to solder, this is probably going to be your best option. And an Endgame rep did directly tell me that these switches are like produced by Kale specifically to not be as hard as the normal ones that you find on AliExpress. I personally don't know what that means, but apparently Kale had to produce like a ton of switches to get their assortment. I believe it, but I'm not really sure what that means. All I know is that the switches feel fucking awesome. And now something that not a lot of people are going to like for sure. This mouse is 82 grams, which is 12 grams heavier than the normal XM1. Many of you might be like, why? Many of you also may be like, this is a step in the wrong direction. And while I agree, I don't think it ruins the mouse. It's definitely weird to see like the newer version of the mouse be heavier, but I'm not gonna lie, it is noticeably heavier. Like when I have the XM1 right next to me, like I can feel it is a lot lighter than the XM1 RGB. But if you like, let's say the switches sounded fucking awesome and you want to try it, but now the weight's turning you off, you can go into your mouse and remove the weights. There's lighting in 3 zones, in like this zone, on the logo, and on the scroll wheel. I personally have no idea how the fuck that adds up to 12 grams. The Model O, it's like 4 grams. But yeah, so it is going to be 12 grams heavier, noticeably heavier in game, but doesn't ruin the mouse. I perform just as well on it as I do on the normal XM1. But yeah, at the end of the day, this is just a refined XM1 with lights on it. The 3 zones, it should give you 30% better aim. It is 10% per zone if you weren't aware. But aside from that, let me think. The coding might be different. I have a theory, I'm not sure. It seems to be a bit more dry, but I have no way of proving that. But you can see, I just like rubbed my finger on it, and boom, there's already a fucking mark on it. That doesn't happen on the normal XM1. I don't know if it's because it's white. So would it even pick up? But I don't know. The normal XM1 is it looks like a fucking baby's butt, just clean as fuck. And the XM1 RGB just, I don't know, it looks a bit more sticky. It just kind of looks yucky, and I cleaned it before starting this video. This is like my second time shooting the video, so I touched it like 10 times, and you can see how dirty it is. But the coating might not be different. In game, it does like it is a sweat magnet, as you can see, but it doesn't affect your grip, it just affects the way the mouse looks. So you weigh those odds with yourself. And the last thing that is different is the feet. They now have the Zowie style glide, and I don't really know if it's better. I'm not fucking bearded Bob. I'm not a mouse foot scientist. They glide well. It's a very smooth, buttery glide. No complaints. Solid PTFE. And maybe it's an improvement. I think those feet are also maybe a bit thicker. You can see they look pretty thick. If so, that's definitely based. But I can't really notice much difference. It's just another thing that's different. And nice smooth glide. I don't know what mousepad this is. It might be fast. It might not be. I've had these for like a day. The side buttons, they're the same. Good side buttons, going to be perfectly fine for building in Fortnite. Let me just do a sound test of the main switches again. Because I really think these should be the selling point of the mouse. Like, at the end, like, who really cares about the RGB? Maybe it'll look better on the white one, but on the black one, it's not, like, the coolest RGB I've ever seen. They do have software where you can change it, but I don't know. I'm definitely, when I do put my paracord on this mouse, I'm going to be taking out the RGB most likely, and I'll do, like, a tutorial on that. So basically this mouse, $70. Is it worth it over the normal XM1 given that it's the same shape and a heavier mouse? That's really up to you. Personally, if I was like a consumer watching reviews and I had to buy one, I was presented with all of the information, I would probably go with the normal XM1. Also, the stock cable is the same. That is something they did not change, and I'm happy about that. Obviously, like, I have my fucking zebra cable right here, and it is a much better like cable, but I mean this Endgame stock cable is good enough, better than every other stock cable on the market, and I'm just so happy it didn't change, because if they fucked with it, then it might be like oof, but that's still good, so no worries there. This mouse is still good value, $33.89. $70 for this is good, but $60 for the normal XM1 is better, in my opinion. But yeah, unless you're really gonna like nerd out over the switches, or maybe like if you're just an enthusiast and you want to try the switches, it's like if you can find an excuse to want to try some fucking new cool switches, this mouse is for you. But I doubt the RGB is really gonna sell like many people on this mouse, and the increased weight is definitely a big turnoff. I'm not going to really go into depth about the shape or anything. Just watch my old XM1 review if you want to. Great, the best shape for claw, no doubt. Good for fingertip, except I personally I enjoy using the normal XM1 a bit more than it because it's just a bit lighter, and when I fingertip, I prefer semi-light mice, and 82, I wouldn't say that's like lightweight anymore, that's like average weight. But if you are coming from a Zowie mouse, this is going to be great. It's literally just like a fucking perfected Zowie mouse with a slightly different shape. So when you think about it like that, it's awesome. But when you compare it to the XM1, it is like, I just don't think it's really, I would still go with the XM1. That's what I'm trying to say. And the white version with RGB is not going to be available at first, but no worries. Here's my normal XM1. Imagine it with RGB. Then boom, that is how the white XM1 with RGB will look. Overall, I'm going to give this mouse, let's say, a 9 out of 10. I'm not going to give it a 10 out of 10 because that added weight, it's a bit fucking annoying. And the coding, well, I don't know, maybe Endgame, maybe I'm wrong, but the coding just seems to be different. Like, the normal XM1 just doesn't do that. And also, I asked the rep, he said that normal XM1s will not have Kale 4.0s, but I presume future mice will, but again, could be wrong. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this review. Let me know your thoughts on the RGB XM1. Are you mad? Are you glad? Yeah, let me know. That is going to be all for this video. Make sure to like and sub.